Welcome back to the Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet Countdown. So hi, welcome back to the countdown, my friends. It's been a while, and I'm going to get into the reason why it's been a while later on in the countdown, if you wanted to know why. But today, we have a lot of information. We've had a lot of information since the last time that we've been around. And today I want to focus on two things. I want to focus on one thing really quickly because Pokemon has been cryptic recently. So as of this countdown, which will be uploaded on the 30th of August, that's important. Yesterday, they tweeted a little bit of an interesting tweet and said, "Hey trainers, we've managed to obtain these photos of some strange markings taken by a photographer from Paldea. They seem to be getting a lot of attention from the region's citizens. Any guesses what they could mean?" So they sent this cryptic tweet out of a bunch of graffiti arrows and lines on the trees. And then today they tweeted out, "Remember the markings we shared yesterday? Well, the Paldean photographer has confirmed that these were made by a Pokemon called Grafaiai. It's something along that lines. I'll put it on the screen on the least. We have a Pokemon name. And I know a lot of people have taken this and kind of ran with it being a Grafaiai evolution or a Smeargle evolution. And I have to admit, when I first saw the tweet and I saw the name, I immediately went to Grafaiai evolution. And then my friend Nixer, who you'll see him in the countdown soon, kind of corrected me on it and said that it wasn't spelled that way, and that makes sense. And there are silhouettes of the Pokemon in the photos, which is quite interesting, and it looks more lemur or monkey-like. And a bunch more, obviously, just some different lines and stuff like that they had painted on some trees. But it does seem to be some sort of like a lemur Pokemon, which is going to be very interesting, because we don't have that many of them. So I'm hoping that we should be getting a new trailer for this Pokemon specifically, probably tomorrow on the 31st of August. And then I would also expect that a new big trailer should be coming out within the next few weeks at least, if they go to the monthly pattern. But I'm not going to get into that pattern nonsense because it's too extensive. Too extensive. So I actually want to quickly mention I cannot pronounce it. Grafaiai. I'm gonna call it Grafaiai basically. I don't know why. It reminds me of the monkey from the Lion King, I think. I think his name is Grafaiai or whatever, or something like that. So I just wanted to quickly mention that. It looks interesting. We'll have to see what comes of that. But I want to mainly focus on one other Pokemon for this countdown, and he was actually, or they were actually announced a few weeks ago, kind of out of nowhere, from the Pokemon World Championship, which we did not expect to get a trailer for, but we got a competitive trailer which included Cyclizar, which I think is very interesting. Now, first thoughts about Cyclizar. When I see Cyclizar, there is an obvious connection to Koraidon and Miraidon. There is an obvious connection. Miraidon has more of like that smoother head piece, and then of course the wheel in Cyclizar's chest reminds me of Koraidon. Do I think that this is going to be an evolution or a pre-evolution of those? No. Here's why. It would make sense that it would. But what I'm thinking is this Pokemon, since it's more readily available, and we'll see that later on when I read the descriptions, there's more people using these all over the region. So it's not like there's only one legendary at that point, because then that would say, okay, Koraidon and Miraidon aren't special, unless they only evolve to one special item. Here's what my thinking is. I'm thinking that if you breed Koraidon or Miraidon, then you get Cyclizar. Possibly something else could happen where the Cyclizar could be more based on the other Pokemon depending on the game you breed it in. So if you bred it in, say, Scarlet, it's going to look more like it does right now. But if you breed it in Violet, maybe it's purple. So something along that lines. Again, I could be completely wrong. And I'm down for either way. Either way, if it's going to be a breedable Pokemon or whether it's a pre-evolution to the legendaries. I don't mind doing that either. It's just that when they say there's a lot of them, it doesn't really make sense to say that it does evolve. But interestingly enough, it could very well be as just an item, just a rare item. And we'll have to see how that turns out. So, Cyclizar, let's talk about its information. Cyclizar is the mount Pokemon, which we'll see later that you can indeed ride this thing. It's normal, or it's dragon normal, my bad. It is 5'3". It weighs 138.9 pounds, and of course, its ability is Shed Skin, which will come in handy with its brand new move. We'll talk about that move first. A brand new move is Shed Tail. The user creates a substitute for itself using its own HP before switching places with the party Pokemon in waiting. This is insane. This is insane. This is kind of OP. Kind of OP where you can have a substitute that then switches over to the next Pokemon, which is interesting because then that allows you to kind of set them things up a little bit better. And I imagine that they're probably going to like min-max the situation and probably make something that's going to like obviously be better than that, or at least counteract it as much. Who knows how that'll affect it, but it's very interesting that they went for this kind of like more competitive format for a lot of these moves. I mean, I would assume that most of the moves that come after this are probably going to be very similar, which is really, really nice. So they're trying to focus on more of the competitive side. Because, you know, online battles, they kind of suck. They kind of have always sucked, in my opinion. I really haven't had any desire to do them, even though I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind trying, but I've just had no desire to attempt them. And maybe this will make this more of an appealing battle format. So who knows? But anyway, let's talk about the other stuff which Cyclizar has other than its moves. A Pokemon that lives with humans. This Pokemon has lived in many households in the Paldea region since ancient times. It has a mild disposition, and people riding Cyclizar are very common sight. It appears Cyclizar doesn't mind being ridden because of the warmth of the rider helps stave off the cold. So interesting enough, like I said, you know, this Pokemon has been around for, you know, thousands of years possibly, and people are riding them all over the region. So it's interesting. It's interesting how they have a tie to the legendary Pokemon. Again, unless it maybe could be that this Pokemon adapted to the legendaries at least and isn't related to it in whatsoever. It's possible. Who knows? I do want to lean more on the fact that it could be breedable from Koraidon and Miraidon. It's possible that maybe even like Koraidon and Miraidon, like, they don't breed with each other, obviously, but like they possibly could, you know, reproduce by themselves and then create a population with Cyclizars. Who the heck knows? Maybe I'm going too much into that, but it just seems interesting that it has been around for a very long time, and the fact that it's gotten used to people too, which is good. So, a body optimized for running. A Cyclizar can sprint at over 70 miles per hour while carrying a human. Its extremely hard head and thick, lithe tail are not only useful for maintaining balance and absorbing shocks when sprinting, they also provide effective ways to attack during battle. So he's very likely going to have like a lot of tail and headbutt. Like he's going to have headbutt. He might get Sin Headbutt. He's probably going to get Dragon Tail, Iron Tail, maybe even Tail Slap. Would be interesting. Would be interesting if I had like a hidden ability that was like Technician, because that'd be kind of OP. But interesting enough, I find it interesting that you can run at 70 miles per hour while carrying a human. I mean, that's rivaling a car. That's kind of wild, which is wild. It's wild because it's wild. Interesting. But anyway, that is Cyclizar for you guys. I am very, very hyped to see kind of what they do with Cyclizar. Again, and see what the actual, like, what's up with it. Who is it related to? Is it related to legendaries? Is it not? So on and so forth. I'm super excited to get more information. And again, I'm going to try to keep you guys updated on the new information about Grafaiai. I'm just going to call it Grafaiai, like I said. I'm just going to call it Grafaiai. I'm going to try to keep you updated on that, and if it does have news tomorrow, then we will indeed drop a new countdown for you guys. But, like I said at the beginning of the countdown, the reason I've been kind of out of producing content recently, well, is mostly myself. I do tend to block myself from creating content a lot of the time. For those who don't know, I have some pretty bad generalized anxiety, and it's not easy. It's not fun. Don't get anxiety, kids. That's my catchphrase. I'll always tell you that. I'm not going to go into too much in this countdown, obviously. And if you are interested, I'm going to be streaming Breath of the Wild because it's a game I haven't played in a long time. But I'm going to be streaming that within probably an hour or two of me uploading this. If you're not following me on Twitter, then head over there and you'll get a notification. Of course, follow me on Twitch as well, and you'll get a notification from that, which is great. But I'm going to be explaining that more in depth over there and trying to get my thoughts out, because I think that's also a very good potential way of helping fight off the anxiety and the thoughts that you can get in your head. I appreciate you guys watching the countdown still. If you guys are still hanging around after all this time, I really appreciate you guys. You guys are the real MVPs. And I hope my best that I can get my button gear and we can keep these consistent. And get back to the days of, the Sword and Shield countdown where I had those going out every day. And I would love to do that with this one. I would, because I miss those days. And we have plenty of information that we probably could until the end of the game, or until the game comes out, which is about 80 days from now. So I'm very excited. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day.